that was that. Welcome back to the SMITE Pro League. We've got placements on the docket, and now this is where it gets spicy. We're going to have two matches in front of us here. Spacestation Gaming taking the field versus Rival, and then we'll see another one later. Hype Unit going head-to-head versus Obey. But people are going home. Zero's here next to me. What's it like getting eliminated from Worlds?
First of all, did you kill Pompon or?
I refuse to answer that question while the tape is rolling. Plead the fifth, etc. So,
What was the question?
what's it like getting eliminated from Worlds?
Pretty bad feeling. I don't remember when. Yeah, actually I do. Oh, that year on Dignitas. Yeah, it's not a good feeling.
That's fair. All right, you know what? You can brag about that one a little bit. The Dinkmeister going to be joining me here as we get into the nitty-gritty. Space Station Gaming. This is the team that needs a space station to get somewhere relevant. They have been struggling. And unfortunately, you know, this is the fan favorite team. Plot armor is just a thing in animes, baby. And this is not an anime, to quote one of my favorite casters. Real talk, though, Space Station has had some issues here. We've enjoyed watching andinster and BaRRaCCuDDa kind of flip places, but I think it's been too little too late.
Yeah, I don't know if they had enough time to adjust to it, and they're all over the way, all over the place with how they play. I feel like andinster, he will play Hades, he will play Pelle, he will play Thor, and then he plays the Scylla, which have been great. And then, like, I don't know, it's just too much different things going on. Sometimes it works, but I feel like most of the times it doesn't.
Yeah, like you said, just a little bit, not enough time to work on it. I like giving andinster whatever he wants to play. That seems to be the strategy, and I'm here for it. But unfortunately, I just don't think that they've been able to figure things out. This is one of the bigger moments here. andinster just lets it rip and gets multiple people with one ability, finishes it off. That's the pentakill.
That was
Andy.
That was nuts. And then he goes on and loses that game anyway. But
yeah. That's actually the first time in SMITE history where a pentakill happens and the team loses the game.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Huh.
Every single pentakill has gone on to win the game, whether as a result of that or just because they were so far ahead. That's what got them. But tough stuff for Space Station. Earlier in the week, they get put down to the loser bracket, and that's where we're at right now. Team Rival go ahead and get put down to the loser bracket as well, and so they will be the opposition here today. Rival, of course, the competitive console team, and they do have their mid laner still playing on controller. Fly, one of the stronger players here, so let them be comfortable. I'm here for that. The rest of the team, you know, input is whatnot, but how good can this team be against Space Station Gaming is the question.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Davey is on a controller too, so I think both their carries are on a controller.
Yep.
I don't know, maybe they can compete with PC anyway, but so far this tournament, whenever they played against, yesterday when they played against the Hype SML team, it wasn't even close. And Hype looked pretty good today, but it did not look like a top team, and this Rival team just got absolutely demolished yesterday by this Hype team, so I have to be a bit worried about them going up against the SPL team here.
I mean, that said, you know, SPL team, SML, let's just forget what league everybody comes from and kind of put these teams in a vacuum. I think these are, and with all due respect, everything you've got to say, these are the two bottom teams at our placements, I think. Realistically, what we've seen out of Sanguine, I think, has surprised a lot of people. The other minor league teams have surprised a lot of people. Space Station did not impress yesterday.
Yeah, you're right about that, but I do think I have hope for SSG to turn it around. I feel like they can still make it to HRX.
All right.
I wouldn't want to call them a bottom, like one of the two bottoms. Like, Rival, definitely, I agree with you. But SSG, I don't know. I think they have potential to turn it around. But then again, they might just fall flat. So.
Well, that's awesome. I want to hear why. What is it about SSG that you think can kind of bring things to that next level?
It's just the last week they had of SPL, they played really well. They played some weird stuff as well, but it wasn't working. But it just feels kind of inconsistent now, right? Like, you don't know. Like, andinster's gonna play something weird. Is it gonna work? Is it not gonna work? Let's see if we get to see the side where it actually works out for them.
I agree. We've certainly seen that Scylla work out well. Will Rival ban it? Year-long Shen, the Persephone already banned out. Isis usually in this position. The Amaterasu, the Geb, and the Jingwei have been taken away. The Ratatoskr will be the ban here for Space Station Gaming, now on the timer. Where do you go?
This is actually pretty smart, BaRRaCCuDDa. Who plays Isis on SSG? Because I'm pretty sure BaRRaCCuDDa won't play it in mid. andinster, I suppose, in the dual lane, but that's not a god we have seen from him.
It's not a god that we've seen from him. Isis is strong.
She's pretty strong.
Just put that out there.
Yeah, but it's a meta. It's a meta pick. Andinster does not play meta picks in dual lane. That's not his thing, I feel like.
So as I leave my, Isis is strong, what I was kind of meandering to was,
face the crushing sun.
There are some characters that are so overwhelmingly strong and yet not complicated. Is Isis a character that anybody can just pick up and run with?
She's not the hardest, but like, she's kind of hard to because very immobile mage, right? Have to be careful with your positioning. If you overstep with Isis, super easy to get picked off.
Yep.
Then obviously her mechanics, like she has some abilities where you have to time right, but not the hardest gun to play for sure.
Well, the Isis will be paired up with the Jormungandr and the Chernobog, so if Isis does get in trouble, BaRRaCCuDDa can ult over.
Yeah, smart. Like a lot of global as well with the Chernobog and Jormungandr. That's like really good for like they can decide, right? They can rotate over to help the Isis, but they can also in team fights dive the enemy backline. Although it looks like with the set 4, there's probably gonna be a set ADC or something like that, so there's not gonna be a big backline on rival, I suppose. So we'll see.
Perhaps the biggest thing seeing Spacestation Gaming in good spirits. These guys have to, everybody down here in the lower bracket has to forget about yesterday. Yesterday being how they wound up here at the lower bracket. Spacestation Gaming got, it wasn't pretty. They got demolished. And so seeing them here, they did win a game, sure, but they got demolished, and that's upsetting. And so you got to be able to put that in your back pocket and move forward. Rival here, first half of the draft done. Thor set Terra. What's your feelings?
I do, for now, I feel like this rival draft could go kind of anywhere. You don't really know who's going where in this draft. I do like the first 3 picks from SSG though, like probably going to be the Chernobog mid for BaRRaCCuDDa, something he's been playing a lot. There was a time, like a month ago, or a little bit longer than that I thought Chernobog mid had a lot of potential.
Sure.
But he is really not that good at fighting. Like we talk about level 5 power spike that mages get when they hit 5, they get a good ultimate. They're really good at killing enemy supports in a 3-on-3 fight around mid camps or whatever. You have a Chernobog. What do you really do compared to like a strong mage like Isis, for example?
Yeah, that's true. Spacestation has been very open-ended. Could they get creative and put Isis solo? Your mid, the old zeros?
I don't think your mid for BaRRaCCuDDa. That would be a stretch. I think I'm pretty sure he's only played hunters. Maybe he just skips mages altogether and goes straight to the guardians. Who
there
knows?
It is. There it is.
Probably not. But I think Isis has potential for flex, and obviously so does Jormungandr. But pretty sure he's andinster on Isis here.
Rival going to select the Merlin.
Wisdom shall be my
across
shield.
the way, Athena will be the guardian of choice. Always love to see Athena. Oh, and a Thanatos hover. Thanatos hover would be interesting. Cyno could be working on this character in the jungle for sure.
Yeah. I would like to see that actually. It'd be a lot of early game then. And like, as it's gonna be Chernobog mid probably, right? His early game's not the greatest. Thanatos can definitely help out with that. And then also the Athena pick combined with the Isis, you get taunted into Spirit Ball, into Silence, you're CC'd for an hour, and then you're dead, so.
I've already asked you one outrageous question. Here's the second one. You, as a Vulcan jungler, as a Giannis jungler, Isis jungle, possible?
Definitely possible. She has cleave autos as
Is
well.
that all?
I could
do
get
better.
behind that for sure, I think.
Because andinster playing the Thanatos in the long lane would fit what we're kind of used to him doing with his assassins.
You actually might be right. I heard Cyno in the corridor saying, I think it's time to whip out the Ryan jungle. This is not Ryan, this is Isis, but kind of similar.
The biggest question mark when you talk about playing weird jungles is the clear. Isis certainly has it, whether it's Wing Gust or the cleave phase 6. And Spacestation has repeatedly had to go to the creativity well to find their victories. I'm just saying.
Actually, now when you said it, it kind of does make sense. I'm kind of leaning more towards Isis jungle and Thanatos dueling, considering it's Spacestation. If it was any other team in the league or any of the leagues, I would say it's Isis dual lane, but Yeah, maybe you're right.
I mean, this is what Spacestation has had to do to find their victories, whether it's surprise themselves or surprise the opposition. But at the end of the day, you know, Isis can clear. She certainly can do everything else. And andinster giving him whatever he wants to play over there has been very, very important for him. Across the way, Rival, Thor set, Terra, Merlin, Achilles. This is aggressive. I mean, this is as fast as you can go. Spacestation Gaming, Rival. Someone's going home. Game 1.
Thanks, Tom and Zeros. Finch and aggro as we move into game number 1. And Tom's, of course, exactly right. We are down in the lower bracket, the elimination bracket. Let's be honest, the loser's bracket. People can now go home if they can't close these games out. Hard to believe it could happen to Spacestation here if they can't bounce back up against Team Rival. But if I'm being honest, Spacestation's a heavy favorite.
They have to be, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to be. Rival has not impressed at all so far this week. I mean, on Sunday, they took care of business up against Big Money, but that's against a team that just doesn't have a whole lot of competitive experience. First lands across the board, it felt like. So, I don't know, man. If this isn't clean from Spacestation, that's the concern. More so than are they going to win? How much are they going to win by? I think is a relevant question.
I think so too, and it looks like andinster is not taking the Thanatos over in the long lane. In fact, he gives up the beads early on to DineOhSaw's pressure. It'll be the Isis long lane, JeffHindla on the Athena to support him up, and Cyno will handle the Thanatos. And I understand a lot of what they were saying on the desk, but quite obviously I do think this is better to run it this way.
I agree. I mean, andinster has played a lot of assassins over there in the long lane, yes.
Sure.
He also pentakilled a team on Scylla yesterday. I mean, he's played quite a few mages. I think that, I know you're a fan of the Isis in the mid 3v3.
Sure.
I think she's great there. I think she's great here.
Yeah.
I think she's excellent in the long lane. She carries really well with all this extra farm.
Hard to put her somewhere wrong almost, you know.
Sure, I could agree with that. I mean, this is just a strong pick. I think that andinster is the guy that has made a ton of plays for this squad when they're going well, and so put him on a playmaking god checks out to me.
And the idea with this one, rather than what I like, the 3v3 dominance, is that it's just hard to beat a level 17 Isis rotating into a fight as they get the beads in return this time from Davey off the CC fly under pressure as well in the middle lane. Those are his purification beads, and just about everywhere on the map right now, Rival the ones under pressure. DineOhSaw has to blink to get away from the Spirit Ball.
And this idea from Rival that we're just going to pick early pressure. Spacestation has not looked good in the early stages of the game, so don't give them a free lane. Just try and do what we can. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's a good choice, but the draft that Spacestation came away with is just so CC heavy that it's going to be hard to play against. I think that you just look at how much crowd control they have, and I don't know how you beat that.
Rapio, though, has made an early rotation. Spacestation could easily bite off more than they meant for here. DineOhSaw's low, but makes it out. Two-man stun and a good wall, but andinster finds the Spirit Ball that he needs. Hammer tossed not enough, and First Blood goes JeffHindla, and now andinster looking for the turnaround with a Wing Gust taunt back in. A double for the support JeffHindla to start the game off.
He almost had the triple, too. If he just had another button ready with that reach, he could have picked up trips in the early stages of the game, but you just don't fight the Isis, man.
So
Not
tough.
at this point in the game. Rapio, being level 3, he puts a point into the wall, and I don't know how much that wall really helps him in that moment. I mean, yeah, you double stun, but you don't guarantee your double tap off of it.
Yeah, I don't think they got any damage off the double stun. Maybe a little bit of positioning.
Exactly. So if you're going to utilize it in that way, why not just put 2 points in the hammer or 2 points in the spin? If that's 2 points in the spin, Rapio gets those kills, I think. So just a little bit of an unfortunate situation on that attempt.
And, you know, for all by talking about how much I like Isis in the 3v3, Rival kind of brought the 3v3 over to the Isis, didn't they? For that fight and left, and that's where she thrives, man. She has so much extra control on top of her burst. It can be so difficult to fight into, and Spacestation staying cool-headed there in that left-hand side, and they come out on top, trusting in andinster and JeffHindla to execute well.
Now they've got a great opportunity to keep pushing that lead on the left-hand side. JB has no beads for 30 more seconds. Jeff has Blink Taunt up and ready to go. And he's got a ton of farm, by the way. He's level 5, DineOhSaw only level 3, and DineOhSaw's not even one of the people who died in that last engagement. So you know there's really good potential for another kill to happen in Spacestation's favor.
Cyno rotating over. This is problems for Predators because BaRRaCCuDDa's on the way too. He does have the Fatal Strike available, but still hasn't charged it, perhaps accepting that he was going to die there. No need to waste the cooldown as he ends up being caught out.
Must have been his thought process, because without using it, you're 100% dead. With using it, you might have the opportunity to survive. Maybe he knew Cyno was up by blue. I don't know how he would have. No ward coverage. No one spotted him. But good positioning by Cyno. A bit unfortunate that he can't get an assist because of his positioning, but it's just efficient to make sure he's got everything covered.
andinster avoids the root and the wall stun, which is good news. He doesn't have to use the purification beads there had he felt as though he was under pressure. JeffHindla's on his way over here to this side as well. But that's just a good rotation from Spacestation over to the right to be able to catch out Predators. And now that's both side lanes, right? They came over to left, that didn't work. They came over to right. This time it was Spacestation. They get something going over there too. They've gotten these side lanes ahead, and BaRRaCCuDDa has been under any pressure in mid.
And he's playing a god that wants to fight around the side lanes. He doesn't want to fight in the mid lane with Chernobog. That's not where you want to fight with your global ultimates. I mean, 2 of your 3 members of your 3v3 have true global ultimates. The other one has a semi-global ultimate. So don't take your fights near mid. Just play it more slowly. Take it around those side lanes where you could actually use that impact that the rival doesn't have anything to match.
Davey makes his way in. This is the red buff invade here for Spacestation. Davey has been stunned, but Cyno waits for an execute. Can't find that. I'll just settle for the scythe, and that puts Davey in the ground.
Now Rapio does come down, but silenced in the middle of the hammer toss. Yeah. Cyno right on time. And that's another easy kill for Spacestation. Rapio not quick enough to use the beats.
It looks like they didn't actually get the invade off the red buff that time, but I don't know if they're too broken up about it as they head back towards the gold field with 2 kills in the pocket. And they'll take this objective as well. And just in case anyone out there needed a reminder of just how good Spacestation are, I know when a team struggles sometimes up against the very best of the best, it can be hard to remember sometimes where that gap is. SSG looking really good here.
They've done everything you need to do, which is get early pressure, try and get ahead on that red buff side of the map. Cyno starts off with the boots rush, as we've seen a lot of Thanatoses do. He does decide to go for Assassin's Blessing, which is a bit of a surprise because a lot of times you'll see these Thanatos players just go straight into Transcendence right after this, knowing that they don't need that extra sustain that Assassin's Blessing provides. But now it does give you 50 health at base, still gives you some pen whenever you evolve it. It's certainly not a bad item, but a lot of times we'll just see players forego it for an item rush of a more important piece.
JeffHindla just picked up that Stone of Binding down there, and I love it in this spot. I want to hear your thoughts on it because it's so cheap and basically like lets you get this spike right away. This makes you think JeffHindla wants to go fight.
Absolutely, and he's so tanky at this point. He's a level up on Rapio and Fly and Davey. He's so tanky, it doesn't matter if he has Thieves right now or not. His base stats alone take care of everything for him. So now you get to do so much extra damage. Your team gets to do so much extra damage.
Yeah.
And then we can get into Thieves later on. You're totally fine. I think that he's using this early power spike perfectly.
Yeah, whoever he taunts is about to take a ton of damage. You can see it there. DineOhSaw brought down to half. That got Rapio to take to the sky with his Thor ultimate. And he does find 2 with the dunk. That brings Spacestation quite low in the back. But they make it out of their A-OK. Cyno takes to the sky with his own ult. Though I imagine they would have liked to get a bit more.
Good defense on that red. Not stolen, I don't think, by what andinster was able to do. But either way, a good defense by Team Rival on that red buff. They respond accordingly. DineOhSaw's ultimate, not ideal, but Rapio's was. So really good 2-man dunk. He got 1 set of beats from andinster, forced the ultimate out of both andinster and Cyno from that fight. Now Andy's not too worried about using that ultimate early on, but does have 20% CDR already. So you can use that circle of protection pretty liberally.
And it's tough, man. The first thing that went right for Rival, I'd say, this game was that they didn't lose as much there as they could have. That's so far about the most that we can put into their win column. They got to find some kind of way to buckle down here at this point, and maybe it can be more around Rapio. I mean, we just saw a really good dunk there from him. He's not so far behind. And Cyno has beats forced out, but look at the healing from the site. The turnaround potential puts Rapio in the dirt.
This is Thanatos. Now you all have to run as well because your boy is level 8 and absolutely swinging at this point. The early crusher damage, it's not the late game item that Transcendence turns into really well, but as far as I want damage right now, Crusher is about as good as it gets, man. I mean, that is, Flat Pen is so important at killing everybody. but especially squishies. And then that extra little bit of damage on the scythe certainly doesn't hurt too much.
So like I was saying, maybe Rival can look to Predators to turn this game around for him. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be Rapio anymore after he just caught the hands from Cyno, and they're looking to go aggressive, man. They have the same read. Whatever the win condition is, they want to go shut it down. Predators use the Fatal Strike to avoid the stun, and Aqua is more concerned with taking the tower down than the kill, so they get the tier 1, and Predators makes it out.
Surprised that there isn't any more there from Space Station. I mean, Predators had used his Fatal Strike already aggressively. I mean, good timing from him to get CC immunity, but he doesn't dodge any of the damage that was coming afterwards. I mean, he still eats the Death Sight, still eats the auto attack. Luckily for him, Space Station are they are generous gods. They let him off the hook.
It seemed that way. Aqua never really that sold on the fight, it seemed. That was mostly Cyno looking for the kill there, and Predators does survive. So I guess whomever I name next as the potential person to help out Rival, instant doom upon them, so I'll refrain from now for their sake, I suppose.
I think Hindu Man's the next the next savior of
well, Ryan,
Rival
you
here.
and I already know doom has fallen to him already.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Yeah, a bit unlucky there for him. Space Station, on the other hand, just trying to make sure they play the rest of this game out cleanly. I mean, like you said, realistically, barring something that we hadn't yet seen from Team Rival, this is more a barometer from Space Station. Can they come in and clean up when they're supposed to? Sort of, as you said, to what degree do they grab this win? This isn't much of a surprise.
This is what I expected, because I know the talking point is all there. I've seen a million tweets about it already. Cyno hasn't won a set all year. He wins World's MVP last year.
Deservedly.
Has not won a set so far this season. Was Splice winless, now joining Space Station. They haven't won a set yet. It's a preposterous stat. It's absolutely crazy. This dude is still nuts at SMITE.
And DineOhSaw just found that out firsthand. Turnaround potential from all 4 members of Space Station. Yeah, that's that rotational ability, by the way. Suddenly Chernobog and Athena are all here, and you're outnumbered. That's a Primal Fury as well. Rival, at this point, can't afford to come in and contest, even if they know.
No way. I mean, Rapio may have been considering a dump, but Aquarius rotation puts a stop to that. Another Fury goes Space Station's way. That's 2 in a row. But Cyno is not just nuts at SMITE still, but he is still a premier player at pushing leads. We haven't seen that a whole lot. Space Station's early game has been a real weak point for them, but this guy still pushes leads better than just about anyone.
Good beads there give Davey a moment. In fact, they save his life. That would have been death otherwise. And Cyno doesn't even want to give him that, as you can tell from this perspective where we're following along with him. They got to wait in the tier 1 tower in the back to go down. Then they can start to move up.
Meanwhile, BaRRaCCuDDa and Aquarius take care of tier 1 in mid, free up their own rotations in this left-hand side, should they so choose. Bear's ultimate not up for a little bit still, only has 10% C, actually does have 20%.
DineOhSaw blinks past for the stun, but he's been locked down by the CC. They did get some members low, which might set up for a good fight for Predators, who's rotating in for the first time. 2-man stun, but circular protection heals them up at execute threshold, and Cyno gets the turnaround kill. Predators couldn't get it done.
This is just dismantling so far from Space Station. Rivals looking to make plays still. They're looking to play aggressively. And you got to have some respect for it, man. I mean,
no quit, yeah.
They definitely don't want to just roll over and accept what is going on in this game, but I don't know that they get a choice anymore. I mean, this is 10K at 12 minutes.
May not get to choose who wins, but they can choose how it happens. And right now, Rival choosing to fight valiantly until the end, something I definitely appreciate here, but Space Station might just have them outclassed. But remember earlier today, SK won their game 1 pretty dominantly, and then game 2 was a bounce back. I mean, I don't want to write this Rival team off entirely, though obviously they are coming into an uphill battle. Perhaps game number 2, they can figure something out to try and give them a little bit more of a chance.
That's a good point. SK was they 19-0 out cold in, I think, 17.5 minutes was the ending time. So Space Station trying to get under the gun a little bit here, potentially, you know, beat out the time to beat.
This is Toxic, by the way, as he catches Rapio just trying to get his speed. He does make it away from the silence just in time. He didn't even have to use the beads, it looks like, from Rapio, but Cyno was there to bully him and remind him who's ahead.
That was close. Cyno just a little bit late on that bead, doesn't pre-bead the wall. Getting stunned, but that's okay. We'll take the consolation prize of the fire strike.
Oh yeah, we'll take the most important objective on the map. That's not too bad. DineOhSaw wants to have something to say about it, but they just drop the objective, look for the fight. Cyno misses the execute there, but they get the kill anyway. Aquarius takes care of DineOhSaw. Now they gotta be a bit careful. Rapio's to the sky too, so they leash the Fire Giant entirely and are ready for the fight.
Aqua, good ultimate right on time because Rapio was looking for him. Aqua's gonna be able to keep some damage going Rapio's way. No feeds from him yet, still has him. He's gonna get chased down by these Guardians.
JeffHindla taunted Rapio back into Aqua. That's the defender of Olympus, but Cyno bullying Predators out of this fight over here to the right. He comes back in. Classic Predators there as he ends up catching too much damage. Oh, I love the mentality from him. Spacestation still firmly in control.
RvLFly on the way. This Fire Giant's getting low, but andinster still has ultimate. Serval protection so good here.
You're right. It almost guarantees they'll get this objective.
Pretty early.
Just a question of maybe can Rival find some kills on top of it. JeffHindla goes down. SSG get the objective, but they've got a couple more low health bars here in andinster, but DineOhSaw can't do enough. It ends up being 3-for-1 and the objective for SSG.
Rival get on the board. They kill JeffHindla, but JeffHindla dies to Fire Giant is not a headline these days, man. I mean, that's 4 Fire Giant, not 2 of that, I should say. Dies so that his team can grab it. I mean, that's been a thing since what, 2014?
Oh yeah.
At this point.
Back when Jeff could hog it, man.
He's totally fine with this setup, and as he should be. Rival get on the board, but Spacestation now have the opportunity to just completely take Rival out of this game if they haven't already.
Would you consider Hog coming back a direct JeffHindla buff? Like, I know everyone would have access to it, but he was pretty good at it back in the day.
Yeah, that was definitely one of his calling cards.
Yeah.
A lot of the supports. Trix Tank would be hogging blink hogging reds again.
Sure.
Level 1. Can't do that anymore with the way the relic system works, but yeah, I mean, if we bring Hog back, all the rules of the game have completely disintegrated as we know them, so you'll be able to buy Rod of Tahuti at level 1 at that point.
Probably won't see that happening as Spacestation.
I hope not.
Group up in
I'm
left.
so sick of these supports being like, man, I miss Hog. I don't care about you.
Yeah, if you can play Hercules level 1 against me with multi-pod stick, and I don't want to hear it, and DineOhSaw won't get to hear it anymore either. He melts like butter. Rapio comes into the back line to try and have something to say, but instead he's being immediately met by the resistance of Spacestation Gaming. BaRRaCCuDDa shreds one, Cyno shreds the next, so that's 3 down already.
Every single person on Spacestation Gaming, besides maybe JeffHindla, and I say maybe, has the opportunity to legitimately insta-kill someone on the Rival.
Yes. At this point, it's just too much damage. Left side Phoenix being taken down as well. They even have Aqua over there taking care of the right side tier 2. And they'll finally slow down a bit. They want to grab the tier 2 here in mid, it looks like, while Aqua keeps the waves pushed up and right. But Cyno taking it back. Maybe they are taking a step back here entirely as he picks up his Erendite 4th item.
Why not?
Yep.
Some extra CDR. It actually seems like it could be pretty good on Thanatos. You already get so much movement speed moving towards low health targets. Now you ult, you land, you're gonna do a lot of movement speed towards anybody you want. I think this could be a pretty potent pickup on this god. It's CDR. He just really wants power and CDR anyways because he has so much flat pen built in.
Yep.
That's not a concern for him. This is warranting some testing for sure. I like the idea.
I think so too. I mean, we've already seen its applications with Mercury.
Bye, Davey.
Yeah, Davey's very much dead here. Level 12, just trying to do his purple. That's not yours anymore.
No. You don't own anything if you're a Rival. You are...
You know, my dad said that to me when I was growing up, like 15 or something. He goes, "You don't own anything, by the way. None of this is yours."
He's not wrong.
He wasn't. And Davey's catching that same lesson. Cyno drops it on Rapio. BaRRaCCuDDa get DineOhSaw. And just like that, it's just the mid and solo laner left to try and keep this base upright as Spacestation Gaming try and drop all their weight on it.
Yeah, good luck to Predator and Rivals, or Predator and Fly from here. I mean, Davey's back up, but he's level 12, by the way.
Yeah, on this set, it's just not going to do a whole lot. And into the Titan room goes Spacestation Gaming with a legitimate chance to close this one out. Circle of Protection tells you they're all in on closing this right here, right now. Big pop for the heal, well below half onto the actual Titan. Cyno is low and so is Aqua, but it doesn't matter. Spacestation Gaming, they wrap this one up in 18 minutes.
When you want to talk about a clean game, that's what it looks like, man.
Yep.
I mean, you not even a bead of sweat on any of these members of Spacestation. They come in, they take care of business. Rival, luckily still in good spirits. You know, appreciate them understanding the situation that they're up against a pretty motivated Spacestation team after a tough loss for them yesterday.
I think so too. This team I mean, sometimes, you know, you hear from teams and they're like, hey, we've been working on stuff. It's been working behind the scenes. We're feeling really confident coming in. And that's just like lip service. It's something that they don't mean. This Space Station team came in confident, really thinking that they'd be able to grab this win. And they're disappointed in their performance. They really want to show what they're able to do. And
I think that's fair. I mean, they've been working pretty hard in this downtime. They looked a lot better towards the back end of Phase 2. And we did not see, not even the team that we expected to see because they've been practicing things and working in the downtime. We didn't even see the end of Phase 2 level Space Station yesterday. I thought they played really, really down compared to how they played towards the back end of the phase. So you know that they're motivated, they're ready to go, and they're focused on their own play moving forward. I mean, this game against Rival, they have to come in, it's on the schedule. Yep. You take care of business and you move on for the next one.
Yeah, winning just like they did there in Game 1, that's kind of the floor, honestly. It's what we're expecting. We'll see if they can do the same thing in Game 2, or will Rival bounce back?
Easy for Space Station, 20-2. Space Station Gaming take this one nice and easy. Next to me is zeros, as that was almost what Rival had, but they had 2 kills. Good for them.
Yeah, not the perfect game, unfortunately, but yeah, that wasn't very close at all. I don't even know what to say about that game, because that was just like a slaughter all across the board pretty much. So
yeah, pretty rough there. Team Rival tried to stand up and do some things, but unfortunately for DineOhSaw and the boys, not in their direction. That said, there's a lot of Space Station fans out there that want to see this team win, and although this game might not be indicative of the rest of the competition, you know, getting the boys a win, right?
It's good. Like, I think a big thing to take apart of this game as well is like andinster on the ice is actually playing a meta mage in the duo lane. Like, there's something we haven't seen from him in a while. I think never, maybe. We'd only seen him on either like some weird assassins or like on the Sylla's the mage he play. But like, I think it's really good, and like he performed really well. As you said earlier, not against the greatest opposition here, but still perform well on the ices. So.
Exactly. I think that's something that a lot of people can kind of miss, in that even when you're playing against a lower-end opponent, you still have to perform. I mean, we could have watched Space Station Gaming win very sloppily, but that's not what we saw. We saw a relatively clean game from a team that has struggled to find the wins. And so when you're looking at this, I mean, 16 minutes in, 13-1, that's all good for Space Station.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like everyone, they survive. They get ganked in the start. They win the 2v3. Like just nothing. It was not even close at any point. Like Cyno popped off. Everyone popped off. BaRRaCCuDDa. It's just like looked super easy for Space Station.
I think we are going to see some of the changes to the input control. Some players going back to mouse and keyboard. Some players going back to the controller here on Rival's side. Again, Rival representing the European SCL. So definitely going to be interesting. Okay. So everybody but Fly is going to be on keyboard and mouse. Fly, the mid lane carry, will stay standard on his controller. And you know, when it comes down to it, I think that when you're playing the mages, you have a little bit more wiggle room. And at the end of the day, I mean, I'm speaking from a place of ignorance. I'm a computer guy, man. I've been on mouse and keyboard since CS 1.5, so maybe I come from a different world. But when you're born with the sticks in your hand, you know, that said, if you're playing an ADC, use a mouse.
Yeah, probably. There's no auto aim or something like that.
Yeah.
So you don't really get an advantage from playing on controller in SMITE. Okay, Rival's gonna 2-1 this apparently. They're ready with the mouse and keyboard now. With the confidence.
Rapio coming out of here confident. I mean, he's one of the longtime veterans, and I'm always one to call a spade a spade. North America has dominated the console region for forever. The console region, the console area forever. Frankly speaking, there's more consoles in North America, and it's been Rapio on whatever team he's been on that has kind of hung on to that European side of things.
Yeah.
So he's the long standout, but unfortunately going up against Space Station Gaming has been a tall task.
Yeah, it's funny about Rapio as well, because even before SMITE was out on console, I was up against this guy all the time in the ranked back on PC. So
he certainly has been around for a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see if his team can change things up in the picks and bans, the way that they will change things up with what's in their hands. Space Station Gaming going to the Jingwei ban here.
Yeah, just like take away safe carries, I guess. They probably want to get a lot of kills this game, I would assume, so might see them take away some other safe picks as well.
Well, that's DineOhSaw right there. Previously, that was Tom Fly, the controller player. DineOhSaw has been one of the big brains behind this team RvL. Unfortunately, obviously, not showing it here in this matchup, but I like the way he looks at the game outside. You know, when you're playing the game, it's very different, but talking to him about various pro-level approaches and what they're doing, he has a good mind for the game, so an interesting sort of coach-esque approach.
Yeah, and I mean, big respect for him too. Like, he's been on this rival team for a long time, and just this rival team has just been dominating the EU console scene for so long. So, like, even if they lose today, they go up against like one of the SPL teams, like one of the best top 10 teams in the world. So, like, even if they lose today, like, still big respect to the boys of our rival.
Bans coming out. Space Station banning pretty much what you were talking about, Zero's safety. Jingwei, Oleron, Geb, all these characters make dying difficult. Space Station trying to farm them. So that will leave Ratatoskr and Susano open.
Oh, that's kind of spicy. Where do those go?
Death awaits.
And this 4 Thanatos, I would already assume this is andinster on the 4, I guess. So we get to see one meta mage duel. That was fun, but now we're back to the 4, baby.
The Jormungandr, that'll likely be for Aquarius. Rival. Do they go a third assassin?
No one
Might
passes
as well at this point, I guess. I'm not really sure.
Kinda. The Morrigan is basically an assassin.
That's the rival comp. If they do get to mid-late game, that's a kind of annoying comp to play against for carries, because like you have 2 assassins that can flank you. The Rat has a global as well that can help out with that, and then you have the Morrigan can also flank you from stealth, so you can get attacked from any angle.
Ratatoskr lands on top of you. Thanatos lands on top of you. Susano knocks you up. The Morrigan detransforms and stuns you. Eesh, I don't want to play against that.
Yeah, there's a lot of flank potential on the side of rival. I wonder where they're gonna put it though. I feel like Ratatoskr probably a better laner than Susano, right? So I would assume maybe Rat ADC, or not ADC, but Rat dual lane or something like that.
Possibly. I mean, we'll certainly keep our mind open. No Terra, no Amaterasu, says Space Station Gaming, since Amaterasu wasn't selected in our first 6 picks for some reason. Rival back on the clock here. They have the Morrigan, Susano, and Ratatoskr. 2 more choices, likely to be
challenge divine
support,
rule.
and Horus will be the god of choice in that position.
Yeah, that's a lot of physical damage. The 3 fists already on rival, with Morrigan being the only magical damage dealer, and then Morrigan, not a super heavy magic damage dealer, right? She's more like an assassin, and she doesn't attack the tanks very often, so would expect to see another mate for rival coming out last pick.
Jeff going with the Kumbhakarna. And Skadi being thought of here. Skadi changed around mid-season. Thought she was going to be crazy.
Yeah, everyone
and
did.
Wasn't.
I mean, she saw some success. I'm pretty sure Ataraxia played. When Ataraxia was playing the mid lane for Dinktas, I'm pretty sure he played it quite a few games, and I think it was... I don't remember if they won or lost, but I'm pretty sure it didn't look bad at least. So
it did well.
Yeah, I guess people probably saw Skadi more like an AMC, but probably a little bit more unsafe, because AMC is so fast, right? Because of his hives everywhere, he gets so much movement speed. Skadi can too if she walks over her ice, but it's not as consistent. So I guess maybe people would just prefer the AMC. So, but I'm not entirely sure why we haven't seen more Skadi.
Yeah, me neither. That has been the question mark for me, was where did the Skadi go, and when will we see more of her? Because I'm with you. I thought that when we did see her for a little bit, she was successful, and Nobody really picked her. Maybe it's a playstyle thing because that's a very real thing. Sometimes characters are good and don't hit the meta because the players in the league just don't play her.
Yeah.
andinster, one of the few. BaRRaCCuDDa has liked the Skadi in the past, so we'll see if that's going to work out for SSG. One more choice for Rival. Where do they go?
As I said earlier, I think it's gonna be another mage, I would assume. Yeah, there we go. I have to mention this Morrigan pick. It's gonna be pretty tricky for her to get into the backline in the stealth, because like there's a lot of AoE abilities on SSG, like Skadi eyes. There's gonna be Jorm pools everywhere. Also, when Jorm goes down into the ground with his free, he can see stealth characters, right? So
that's a big point. People forget about that. That's one of those interactions that people don't really think about all that often. BaRRaCCuDDa getting ready here. Probably gonna be playing the Skadi. Should be an interesting one. Is this Poseidon middle lane, or what's going on here with this rival draft? I'm not going to give it a shot. You can.
I honestly don't know which of their carries prefer the Morrigan more, but I guess we've seen more Morrigan in the duel. Actually, that might not even be true, because Prime played a lot of Morrigan. But yeah, I really don't know. It could be anything.
Ratatoskr and Susano also kind of question marks here. Which character winds up in the jungle? Which character winds up in the lane? Maybe they both wind up in the jungle. I don't know. There's a lot of different choices here, I think, for Team Rival. Back against the wall. Don't forget, loser of this best of 3 goes home. So Team Rival, runners-up to the console world champions. They are number 2 in the world when it comes to console teams. So they do get that to hang that on their mantle. But if they're trying to get to worlds, this is it. They've got to win here in order to make it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of the line. Like, it's not impossible. They switch over to the, as we talked earlier, they're on the mouse and keyboard now. Maybe they will make them better. Maybe they will make them worse. Who knows? But if they step it up, like, if they win this game, they're still not out of it, so.
Exactly. This is what you get the double elimination for. You get the second shot. Spacestation Gaming, 1 game away from moving on, and this is very positive for the boys who have had a hard time. We're going to go into game number 2 right now.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Zero Smell on the desk. Finch and Aggro here. You get to see us standing up here this time as you're just about to move into what could easily be Rival's last game. And that's where you heard the way Tom and Zeros were talking about it. If these guys do think they have a chance to go deep in this tournament, they got to show us whatever it is that they've got left right here.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going to be Rat solo to me. It's the right sort of idea in my mind. Just pick something that is a little bit odd that can still impact the map elsewhere. I think that you overall can make it work. Oh no, it is going to be Predators on the Morrigan. He's played this in the SCL. Odd, can impact the map early on, can potentially make it work. Davey going assassin for assassin in that long lane. Something tells me that andinster is a little bit more comfortable on assassins than he is, though.
Yeah, Andy kind of been doing it for a while now at a really high level, so we'll see if Davey is capable of matching up with him in that regard. But I don't know, man. Predators kind of seems like a nice fit for Morrigan to me, because he likes to play kind of away from the team. He'll go in deep. Morrigan is someone that can get kind of an escape clause as he turns into... I mean, they don't have anyone that particularly great at getting away the way that maybe like a Robin would. You see that a lot of times as the escape clause. Maybe it'd be the Jormungandr in this spot. But it does fit his playstyle a lot, so maybe he can make some noise with it.
I mean, you've already got a dunk coming in from Davey, and you can double it up with a Thor dunk or another Ratatoskr. You've got a good capability of chasing low-health targets by transforming into the Thanatos that Cyno is piloting. Not the greatest game, I'd say, for Morrigan's transformations.
I agree.
There are some ones that are serviceable.
Yeah, I think there are certainly some decent targets here this time.
And it's going to be in the 2v1 to start us off on this left-hand side. DineOhSaw starting over here, but JeffHindla going to start at the enemy speed. RvLRapio instead going to start at his own red and then work it down towards the enemy side of the jungle.
And Rival moving right into the purple up to see what they can do, but they're going to catch Cyno on the Thanatos yet again. Hammer comes through from andinster too, and that's first blood for SSG, and DineOhSaw's got to keep on running. He could be in trouble too now that slow has come out.
RvLRapio is level 2, and he actually waits just long enough. SSG doesn't know he's here, but DineOhSaw is just shooting himself to death.
Actively running away from help.
RvLRapio does manage to get one. So here's the thing. You get Cyno more farm by getting him another kill, so and then that means RvLRapio gets more gold and experience by killing him. Would have been a good thing if it worked that way, but unfortunately it doesn't whenever you're up a level. So.
Dude, Galaxy Brain, perhaps. Actually, just a bit of a joke there by the left-hand side. But Spacestation come out of the gate hot yet again. Cyno and andinster as this like double assassin pair. And you know, I really like that that's kind of the way they're leaning towards it, because Hype Unit on console, they really lean into double mages with Crimson and BaRRaCC and that strength. And it's kind of the same thing here. I mean, this is what Cyno and andinster are both best at, and maybe it'll be a little tighter than this up against more close competition, but I think this is the right core of an identity for Spacestation to lean into that strength.
I can't disagree with you. I think that this is when they started looking a lot better towards the end of Phase 2 was because they threw convention out the window, said we're losing every time we try and do the normal stuff. Why bother? Let's just do the stuff we're good at and can execute on.
Very little mana for Predators, but he makes it out anyway, basically just damage tanking that whole way. He didn't really have much to help him out there. The Warrior's Blessing, I assume, doing a lot of that work, because unlike a Guardian or a Warrior over here in solo, Morrigan doesn't really have any extra help.
Not a whole lot. I mean, Warrior's Blessing gives you at least a little bit.
Yep, it's about it.
Lane, and that is the end of it. It's not going to be easy for Predators. And as Zero's highlighted on the desk, Jorm can see you when you're in stealth, so that's not even a great escape option for you. If Cyno goes Erendite again, he'll be able to find you very easily once he lands that hovering death. This is between the lack of great transformations and the fact that you've got so many characters that play well against stealth on the other side, this is a spooky one for Pred.
Not an ideal Morrigan situation. You know, Zeros talks a lot about how when you're Morrigan, you don't have to worry that much about being procs. Hold on, Aqua's in trouble here in the solo lane, and Predator's the one that gets the kill credit. But now Cyno's here, level 4, full HP, and plenty of mana to keep rocking and rolling. But Rapio being body blocked by Predators perfectly keeps them both alive.
Really nicely done there by Predators, knowing that if Cyno gets to just keep running them down, because Rapio is not backed yet, has no boots, Cyno has full Ninja Tabai already. He's going to way outpace what Rapio can do. Good job by Predators.
Just to stay heads up, get back in, and keep his partner alive. Cyno heals back up. They strip away the blue buff, and now DineOhSaw has just moved in to try and prevent this one from happening. Predators finds the Kraken. Turns out that's what they needed. Cyno goes down, and JeffHindla's in the passive, and he can't get out of that one either. Predators finds a third kill.
That was actually pretty nasty between DineOhSaw and Predators. I thought DineOhSaw was just straight up signing his life away, but ends up playing that really, really well in a perfect transformation target by Predators in order to get in and use that Kraken. And I don't think anything else could have been better there.
Looks like Davey has pressure here over andinster, at the very least a slight experience lead. He got into that ultimate a little bit ahead of Andy on the Thor. That does give Andy the advantage the next time they fight. That ultimate for Davey will be down for a little while, but some signs of life coming here from Team Rival, and they really desperately needed it. Game 1, there just wasn't much there, but they're looking much better here already in Game 2.
Problem is, Predators completely out of mana. Cyno right on time, blinks in and obliterates the enemy solo laner. I mean, this is still okay though for Rival. I mean, they've got a slight lead in kills. Problem is, they aren't doing a great job farming. They're down overall in farm right now by about 500 gold. That's despite the repeated purple buff invades on this left-hand side. andinster's down in XP right now, but he's ahead in net worth because of this ability for Davey. Even despite these invades, he's split an awful lot so far with DineOhSaw, who's also behind JeffHindla.
I was curious where Predators are going to go with this build. I was starting to talk about it before that fight. That with Morrigan, you're kind of able to bait in safely in the stealth, get off your damage, and then transform right away into someone a lot tankier than you. So it usually doesn't hurt her that much, even though she's close up to not have prots a lot of the time. But he is the solo laner here, and it's really just DineOhSaw and this warrior that we're going to have for protections. So I was wondering how he's going to build, and it looks like he is already working on some magical defense. Even on the Morrigan, it looks like you just don't have much room to maneuver as the solo laner. You got to get some prots.
An early Genji's probably is where he's going to go as another blue buff invade successful. JeffHindla's a little bit far forward here.
And he is going to be the early target. Predators has the stun to keep the CC chain going. No passive this time, and JeffHindla served up on a platter. Rival happy to start eating, and they find themselves their 5th kill of the game.
Just a weird miscommunication there. Everyone else on Spacestation was clearly on the get blue and get out train of thought. Everyone else was pathing backwards. No one was even backpedaling to see if Jeff needed help.
David takes the sky. Couldn't tell if that was aggressive or if he was trying to get away, but they look for BaRRaCCuDDa here in the middle lane right away. But a two-man stun from Cyno helps out. BaRRaCCuDDa still falls to Rapio's pressure fly. Gets the Kraken on Cyno, and hello! Rival are here in this second game.
Okay, they're waking up a little bit. This pressure on the left-hand side is paying off. Now for Rival, Davey gets involved, gets a couple of assists. Fly holds that Kraken that entire time and is able to convert it into a kill on the Cyno. Rival looking a lot better. Still need to be able to get a little bit more on the back end of these, though. This is something that I noticed during their setup against Type Unit. Even when they were getting ahead, they didn't do a good job of converting that into farm. They get a lot of kills, but don't get a whole lot off of it. They need to do a good job of actually getting objectives and getting ahead. But in order to do that, you need to be able to kill your opposition a lot of times. And they've got that part down so far here in game 2.
Yeah, David goes to the Glad Shield here right after that Acorn. I mean, you could tell that they're definitely more active here, but JeffHindla wants to try and nip this all in the bud. Fly gets swatted, and in comes DineOhSaw trying to help, not quite there in time with the Horus ultimate. And Spacestation should make it back out. As meanwhile, Aquarius over in right could be in some trouble. Predators turned into the Poseidon. He's done that twice now, and almost finds the kill.
Cyno's still here and has Blink up. This is, instead of going for that blue buff defense, look where Rapio is. He's going to that left-hand side. Looks like Predators actually was able to steal that blue away, and Andy's in trouble.
Yeah, he catches him there on the left-hand side. andinster makes it back to the Tier 1 tower, though. It was close. He didn't have to use beads, though, which is a pretty big win for him in that game to have not been under that much trouble. So at the very least, he makes it back out.
Shoutouts to that Warrior's Blessing that andinster has gone for. It's really helped him out, just getting a little bit tankier.
We're seeing this more, huh?
Yeah, I like it on these assassins. I mean, there are some assassins like Susano, maybe I think Mage's Blessing's a little bit better to just help you clear the wave. There's potential.
DineOhSaw has found BaRRaCCuDDa in the jungle. They lock him down, and that's an easy cleanup kill there for Davey working together with DineOhSaw. And Rival looking better, man. You can see in their player cams, they're active. They're definitely still in a good mood. And more than anything, they still believe they can win this game, man. And they're showing us here that they can. Still not favored, I'd say, but certainly capable.
Davey keeps andinster busy on this side. There we go. Fury goes down. Rival, that's an objective on the back end of a kill. Their lead getting close to about 1,000. Thing is, Predators needs to be careful on this side of the map, as does Davey. Just a little bit short. Shout out to that Glad Shield prot.
Yep, that gets Davey back out of there, man. He needed every bit of that, or he would have certainly fallen this left-hand side. That doesn't mean andinster can start to push and move here into the jungle, and could even potentially catch out Fly just coming over to grab his red buff by himself. It looks like he got the news. I don't know how, but Fly knew better to get on out of there, and he makes it out safe.
DineOhSaw fires off that ultimate. He actually puts everyone behind Cyno to cut off his escape route, but I don't think Cyno's looking to escape. I think he's looking to fight.
Yeah, he's heading right towards the speed buff. They get the invade, and Team Rival could see the writing on the wall. They disengage completely and head back towards the Tier 2 tower. Despite this last surge, I mean, hasn't it been Rival this whole game? They've been getting all the kills. They're doubled up in kills right now, but Spacestation are still the ones on the Chaos side of the map playing aggressive.
Undeterred, and I think that's important, because if you just let Rival set their feet and get comfortable, they're gonna do much better than what we saw from them in game 1.
Cyno takes to the sky. Doesn't even necessarily have to wait for execute threshold if he can find a nice stun, but he is long gone. No longer looking for this engagement. They got Predators to ult there just now, really without committing a whole lot.
And I think that's on Rapio in particular, who's less invested in that fight, who's got a much better angle to what's happening, to let Predators and DineOhSaw know they aren't getting dunked in that spot. Losing that Changeling ultimate for not a whole lot of investment is a bad thing. I mean, Aqua might be able to just outright solo Predators once he backs.
Sure.
Gets a little bit more itemization.
I mean, so much of what Morrigan does is reliant upon that Changeling ultimate. And Predators have been turning into Fly a lot here in the 1v1. The Kraken very, very good in the Jormungandr. I imagine that's part of why. But later on, he's going to have to start looking for different targets, I think. I don't know if the Kraken is really going to be the best one. This team could end up needing just more control and tanky presence in these fights.
I agree, and this build from Fly is head-scratching, to say the least. I mean, Bancroft's... I'm a notorious Bancroft's hater. I think it's really only good on gods
Anubis.
like Sol, Anubis, and Persephone are like the only gods that ever built that item on. Maybe Agni, but even then I don't love it. hate it on Poseidon. There's so many items I need when I'm playing Poseidon, man. I need Spear the Magus, I want Shaman's Ring, I want E-Staff, I want Soul Reaver. I need Obsidian Shard, I need Boots. I don't got time for all this.
Well, that is andinster down and left, and then right, Cyno has ganked Predators, so both teams had the same idea at the same time. Just a question of who gets more, and Rival, the one's already in position for a Tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, Spacestation's going to keep collecting their own side of the jungle. Not bad for them jungle for solo.
And you see
or long lane for solo.
Aqua get the speed buff once again, but Rapio pretty happy with that. I mean, Andy's really far down. He was down 2 levels in that lane, even going back a level. He was level 9, whereas Davey was sitting at 11. That level discrepancy is going to continue to grow if Davey's able to get all these red buffs. Spacestation's been very good about being there for the enemy blue and invading that consistently. Where's the defense on this red? I'm a little surprised they've been willing to give so many up in a row, because not only does that impact andinster's level of farm, but it's BaRRaCCuDDa's as well. That's made BaRRaCCuDDa fall behind.
Team Rival still very much in this one, but here comes the dunk from Davey. He goes right for BaRRaCCuDDa. Great epic uppercut from Jeff, though, to put a stop to that aggression. Cyno goes to the backline for Fly, and yet again erases him. Control-Alt-Delete. Rapio, though, does find one more back to Cyno. That at least makes this an even trade.
Good use of that spin. No knockup available, but BaRRaCCuDDa's pathing a bit ambitious. He thought that fight was going better than it was. And Davey finds another one. That's 2 for 1 for Rival's favor.
They come out on top yet again here in this fight. And so far, it's been this aggression, this playmaking from Rival that has allowed them to remain close. But they got to start turning that into a lead, or else it's just not going to be enough. I know Spacestation have struggled all year, bottom of the SPL, but this team is still too strong to let you just play ranked for 20 minutes and then think you're going to be able to win it at the end. They got to start building a lead.
But if you're a Spacestation at this point, you know what everyone's saying. You have
sure.
to, right? I mean,
you can't let that creep in, man.
You gotta keep that out of your head. You gotta play this slow and understand that you're okay. You know, it feels like Rival's got all this momentum, but it's someone's job to be saying, hey, you know, we're right there in this one.
Yep.
Aqua's huge. Let's just get him involved in all these team fights. That's a lot of that's going to be on Aqua to say, hey, I'm big. Don't worry about it. I'm going to come in and I'm going to affect these fights really heavily. We're okay. No need to stress, but I think it's hard not to. If I'm being honest, if I'm in Spacestation's shoes, it's a lot of really after yesterday and how we played. This is how we're coming out here in Game 2.
Right. I mean, you wouldn't want all that to pile on, right? On top of a lot of the stuff that they're already hearing, I'm sure. And you just want to be able to come in and grab this win and move on and start to show all the stuff that you've been working on instead. Here's this team Rival with such a gauntlet ahead of them, undeterred by any of that, giving you 100% right now. And they're kind of taking Spacestation the distance, at least so far here in game number 2. As you said, this game nowhere near out of reach just yet. Look at BaRRaCCuDDa's build, a shifter shield after the Transcendence, as it Fly just drops the Kraken.
And it nearly killed Cyno. Aqua's in a bad spot too. He's getting low, but gets that World Serpent off just in time.
Just barely makes it to the ultimate. But Cyno's in some trouble. Davey with a blink makes it to him, and he makes it to the sky. Davey's out of there.
That's huge. You put Cyno down, that you even him up at 5 and 5. And that should open up this Oni Fury.
Wow.
No Kraken, but Predator transformed, but way too early. They'll get it anyways, just uses DPS.
Yeah, they just choose instead to try and raise the time until they clean it up. Predators will die on the back end of this, and that's a pretty valuable target for Spacestation to have found to keep this Morrigan relegated to a more defensive position this game. But Rival are showing us some ability to really see the whole map. As long as they're, you know, getting their farm steady from it, they're in control.
They're winning. So far, they're winning in this game. Now, XP being even in Spacestation's favor is not a great sign for Rival. They're definitely still having a little bit of trouble finding the farm after these fights.
Agreed.
I mean, the fact that Cyno's 5 and 5 in the same level of farm as Rapio, who's 4-0 and 5, that tells me that Rapio's not farming quite as much as he probably needs to be. DineOhSaw, despite his team winning around him an awful lot, he's 0-1 and 9. Compared to JeffHindla 0-1 and 2 or 0-2 and 2. He's not finding enough farm quite yet, but it's a process right now.
Cyno doesn't make it off the ground. Fly hits the Kraken. So they've got the 5v4 power play. Pyromancer's available If they want to come over and take a look at this one, as DineOhSaw is the one zoning and keeping tabs on where JeffHindla is. They got a lot of members on the right-hand side. They might want to try and grab Aqua, who has the ultimate available and channels it in time, so he'll be able to disengage as well. But Rivals still have the numbers advantage on this side of the map.
Cyno will be up in about 15, and he's got Blink and Ult available, but he's still vulnerable for another 30 seconds after that. No beads, and DineOhSaw is able to make it work. This is risky, though. I don't know about this one.
And it looks like they don't know so much about it either. This is not good if they're not on the same page. It looks like instead the call's going to be to fight, and they look for BaRRaCCuDDa right away. But he has beads and Aegis that buys him time, and they look for the turnaround play into DineOhSaw. BaRRaCCuDDa is the one that finds the shots to bring DineOhSaw down.
Davey can't find him either. Predators, another Poseidon transformation that does not get a whole lot of purchase. JeffHindla's passive consumed, and in a 5v4, Rival just look a little bit too spread out.
Yeah.
They look a little bit too panicked in that moment. And Davey just has farmed so well in this game. He's invaded really well. He's had a really good understanding of how to push this lead in the lane. But I think that Rival needs a little bit more from him in these team fights. He's gotten finishing blows on a couple people. He's up there in the player damage charts, but we really haven't felt it since every team started to group. Right there, he whiffed on BaRRaCCuDDa and immediately had to back it up.
That means now it's Pyromancer for Spacestation Gaming, and like you said, Rival were not cohesive about what they wanted to do with that power play, with that 5v4 numbers advantage that they had. You saw some members starting to fire Giant, but they did not look as though they agreed with that call at all. Maybe they were trying to sell it, but I mean, they barely got their foot in the door before they made the pitch, and then they backed off to look for the fight. I mean, the moment might have been a little too big even for Team Rival. You wonder if here, you know, at this studio in this big moment, if they were quite ready to make the right call. They're definitely ready to cut down BaRRaCCuDDa, who gets isolated in mid. Maybe they can give us a take two and try this again.
Looks like he got double blinked on by DineOhSaw and Davey. DineOhSaw with that Relic Dagger already means that cooldown is pretty low. That's what needed to happen last team fight. The fact that BaRRa used both relics and survived Davey after the fact did cause some concern, but at least they punish him for not having them before they come back up at least one more time.
We've already established they can get picks. They got to show us the next step, I say here, Ryan.
Yep. That
they can convert that into some kind of real tangible lead. Looks like the tier 1 tower here's the call, but Predators needs help in right, losing the battle outright to Cyno, using the Jormungandr in that ult, and that will allow him to disengage, but Cyno's tracking him pretty well, and might even be able to hunt him down.
No blink, he won't need it. Predators is just outright dead. Unless he stealths away.
Oh, wow.
And he's out.
I don't know, but Cyno's so fast. Once he sees him out of stealth, he still can catch back up. The side fadeaway doesn't hit, though, and Rapio is enough of a bodyguard, unless JeffHindla gets here.
Blink Yawn almost catches Predators, but we'll catch one more. Rapio, have fun. You lose the tier 1 tower in mid for it, but you've relieved a lot of the pressure.
Aqua still has the ult, even among all three. Kraken and the knockup come through from David and BaRRaCCuDDa, so he's just going to try and trade what damage he can. He will indeed end up falling, and there's the ultimate from Aquarius to reposition. But they're still hunting Predators up by the tier 2 tower. He's in a whole lot of trouble back there without the Changeling ultimate to allow him to fight.
Finally, they give that up as Aqua gets stunned right in that whirlpool. Aegis was huge in order to immune that damage, but it doesn't matter. He's going to die.
Wow, they were able to find yet one more kill. That makes it 2 for 1. And Predators avoids 3 members over there in right, but they give up the chase to grab the tier 2 tower. Not a bad use of Space Station's time. So even still, not only do Rival have the kill lead, Space Station have grabbed the gold lead with that play around the tier 2 tower. They're the ones out in front.
BaRRaCCuDDa steps up in mid without relics, back up again. Immediately gets Kraken. He's lucky that Fly whiffed the center of it, because otherwise he would have gotten insta-killed once again. I mean, he's 2 and 5 on the Skadi pick, two levels down to Fly. Everyone was so worried about Skadi when she, right after mid-season, that big buff.
Me included.
She's going to be insane. No way anyone can contest with her. We've seen next to no Skadi at a competitive level, and this is the first time we've seen her in so long, and it doesn't look good.
Not particularly impressive. Davey does manage to get away from JeffHindla and his aggression. That was the epic uppercut and an attempt to lock him down, but the fighting not over. Cyno has to ult to get away from the pressure, comes right back down towards Rapio. Andinster there to follow up, but they don't have the damage. Cyno instead turns around onto Davey. They find their first kill. Kraken for Fly, though, does take care of Andinster. 1 for 1, long laner for mid laner. Or rather, both long laners.
Yeah, both long laners. Predators used his own ultimate there, but didn't seem to find a whole lot. Now DineOhSaw's turn.
And Primal Fury just being started by Spacestation, but DineOhSaw comes right in with it to the sky. Aqua does use the ultimate, he had the right call, but DineOhSaw can't do this alone. Even with a 3-man knockup, he's certainly dead to rights. And that means Spacestation go right back to the objective.
Rapio, no relics, no ultimate. Don't think he's going to come in. No way. Predators almost got it, but now he's going to die for it. I mean, his stealth is down. I don't know if that's really worth Predator's life. Now this staggers the enemy team so heavily. He's dead for 45. That's a pretty big attempt by Predators, and I just don't think the risk reward is there.
Spacestation now up about 2,000 gold or so on the back of that fight. Similarly for experience, and they've got the numbers advantage on the map if they want to head over towards FG. And even though Bear has struggled this game, his damage on the objective will be there to give them sustained DPS as well as taking down towers. They're certainly not out of this by any means. In fact, they've got plenty of claim to come over here and look to grab an even stronger lead.
Will Rival be ready for this? I mean, looks like they are. Maybe a little bit too ready. Davey pretty early with that ultimate.
And now he's being locked down. They don't have to stay on the objective. Beads comes out from Davey early. DineOhSaw shows up to try and provide some much-needed peel, but SSG have given up on the objective. They want this fight here now. They got DineOhSaw locked down, slowed, knocked up, and being sent all around. BaRRaCCuDDa gets the kill credit. Cyno goes for Rapio way downtown, and Rapio's removed as well. Spacestation have 5 members up, and they're looking at FG again.
Okay, Spacestation fans exhale.
Yep.
Looks like they're riding the ship, so to speak. They still have a couple people to worry about. Davey has Blink, and he's hovering.
And he's on the backside. Blink's in, probably didn't have a read on right where the FG was, and instead he'll be collapsed on. They drop the objective. Cyno kills him. Predator's still nearby though. He can throw his hat in the ring, but he's been revealed. I think BaRRaCCuDDa saw him, so now they know he's here.
Now it should be a kill for BaRRaCCuDDa if he wants to keep it going. Decides not to. Heads back towards Fire Giant. And it's getting low. Spacestation managed to secure it.
And they send Fly on his way as well. Predator's still stuck on the wrong side of the map. I doubt they know where he is. He uses the stealth to reposition on the right-hand side. But Spacestation now have regained control right at the ship, as you correctly put it. Spacestation back where they need to be on the tracks, and they should be able to regroup, come make a push. Remember, they already got the tier 2 in right. That Phoenix is open if they wanted. A lot more towers to get in left, though. They might hit that one up. And 2 still in mid. Rival had done a good job this game, keeping their base relatively safe.
Still, that just means there's a lot of gold left on the map.
Sure.
For Spacestation. I mean, they can push this lead pretty quickly after the fact. That feels like the big concern to me, is their ability to put this game out of reach very quickly right away. I mean, Rival have just got to, they've really thrived on this chaotic, back and forth, fighting without a whole lot of purpose sort of style that they rope-a-doped Spacestation into. Now Spacestation look like they've had a chance to catch their breath, set their feet, and they are refocused on what is important in this game, and I'm concerned that they won't fall back into Rival's trap, which Rival needs them to.
With BaRRaCCuDDa here in the minion wave, they'll make quick work of this left side tier 2. They're not grouped up yet to make any real actual Phoenix pushes. They'll slow down, invade the jungle. They still have a tier 1 to take care of here in mid as well. So Spacestation will get to show us where they'd like to group. They're going to catch BaRRaCCuDDa in the jungle. DineOhSaw and Davey going aggressively first. Davey takes to the sky, as does Cyno, and DineOhSaw falls early. Rapio in trouble in the back. Cyno gets that kill. Predators is very low here on the back line as well, but manages to escape just enough. But what about poor Davey? Cyno makes it a double.
Cyno's had enough, man. He's putting his foot down.
Okay.
Andinster does get gobbled up by Fly, but that's still a 4-for-1 in Spacestation's favor.
Well, they need BaRRa.
They sure do. He's a little bit far away. He's on the mid tower. I mean, they've got Cyno. He's got so much flat pen with that 2 and all that extra damage that they look okay.
Yeah, I wonder if this could have even been an in push, though, if he's grouped up with them. I mean, obviously he wasn't, so there's nothing they can do there, but they'll settle for the left side Phoenix in quotes, and BaRRaCCuDDa keeps Predator's zone as the rest of the squad heads to mid Phoenix at this point. DineOhSaw back up, but he really can't afford to play much defense. That's the mid Phoenix as well. Spacestation suddenly, all at once, up 11,000 gold. What had been so close through 22 minutes has skyrocketed out of control.
Man, this is more along the lines of what we saw in Game 1 and frankly what we expect from this matchup. I don't know if I'm ready to give credit to Rival. I mean, obviously they deserve credit for how close this early game was, but I also have to look at the way that Spacestation played a lot of it. I just don't think that they did a particularly good job.
Well, coming into this, that's how he framed it, right? This was a bit more about how well could Spacestation come in here and clean up a match they're supposed to win. Game 1, they handled business. Game 2, though, Rival caught them off guard with this aggressive early game strat. Morrigan solo, Rat in the long lane, and they weren't quite ready for it. They did stabilize and bounce back in that mid game, but I mean, you'd hope that they'd have been able to hold on longer. A team like SK or LG or Obey, if they get that same kind of early game start, they're not going to let Spacestation stabilize.
No doubt. I think we saw the Skadi experimentation. We probably are ready to move on from that if we're BaRRaCCuDDa. I'm ready to move on from the Andy Thor long lane. I mean,
yes,
which is a real disappointment because andinster, one of the best Thors to ever touch the game, but it just has not worked for him so far this week. Give it over to Cyno. I'm fine with that. It just has. I mean, he got heavily bullied in that lane by Davey.
Davey kind of gave him the hands here in the long lane. Fire Giant has now fallen off of Spacestation. Another minute till that objective itself is up. Won't be enhanced just yet. We'll have just crossed the 28-minute threshold when they start for it. And they'll be able to use that to make what could easily be their final push. Only one Phoenix left in right lane, as yet untouched, to at least have a full strength one to defend on. But hold up, Spacestation have pushed up. They might not bother waiting on FG.
They're up enough that they might be able to make this work. They just have such great backline dive between the Thanatos and the Thor dunks that it's really, really hard to defend against. If both andinster and Cyno just walk it up right here, these are Oni fire waves as well. It's tough.
Oh, look at this, a play from DineOhSaw to try and catch them off guard from behind. They look to lock down andinster early on, but in comes Aquarius to play disruption. Rapio falls way off on the left-hand side of the fight. Meanwhile, there's some trouble, as it looks like andinster's hunting down one more. He certainly is. That was Predators. That only leaves 3 members up from Rival, and it's not just to keep this game, it's to try and stay in the tournament overall. Titan at half HP. Titan well below. Fly does find andinster. Try and keep this in. Cyno is low as well. Fly gets a double, but BaRRaCCuDDa takes Davey, and that's the game. Spacestation closed the set out 2-0.
Good attempt by Rival. I think they really bounced back well from game number 1. They looked a lot better for sure, but Spacestation woke up and remembered what they were supposed to be doing. Still a valiant effort. Good job by Rival to get second place at this year's Worlds and the console side of things.
Yep.
And then to put up a fight here in game number 2.
I think they did look impressive. And really, as you said, it's the mental side of it from Rival that I've been the most impressed by. Yeah, I think it's very easy to come into this set and maybe not give it your all, thinking that the outcome was inevitable. But instead, not only did they fight hard in both games, but they showed us a whole different strat in game number 2. Yeah. And it very nearly won here up against Spacestation. An impressive game from them.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, this is what they came in and tried to do in game 2. They executed as best they could. Spacestation ultimately ended up being the better team, but it was in question for a minute, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah. Not by as much as I think they would have liked for it to have looked like at the end of that game. So maybe a few questions still hover over Spacestation when instead they would have liked some exclamation points. We'll have a chance, though, to talk to the boys as well as break it down further in the desk in just a few minutes.
Spacestation Gaming, take the set. Man, it's been months since I've been able to say that. Fantastic job to them. They keep their tournament dreams alive. Unfortunately for Team Rival, console side, they will be going home. I'm here with Zeros. We break this one down. Break it down.
The first set of the whole year that Cyno gets a win, so congratulations to him for that. Definitely not clean though this game from SSG. Thought after the first game looked super one-sided, so I thought this game would be like that as well. And it's just back on the 4, and it's like, I don't know, it looks kind of not too good, honestly.
Yeah, a little shaky there as Rival is able to kind of grab something in the early stages and the mid stages, honestly. They had something going for them. These early game fights were strong, and going up against the Thanatos, being strong in the early game is important. You were looking at Rapio early as well?
Yeah. I was looking at this Morrigan solo and Predators. He was like 3-0-0 at some point, like super fed early game. I thought like maybe he could run this game. Then he opted to go into this tank Morrigan, which I personally hate, because I feel like, why go on a tanky character that you're just looking to initiate from stealth, right? Then you transform. If you want to be tanky, transform into a tank and build damage so you can do damage before you transform. I feel like going tanky and Morrigan makes 0 sense to me, but yeah.
Was definitely a rough start or a rough finish for the solo lane Morrigan for sure. BaRRaCCuDDa here on the Skadi, an interesting choice. Mid lane probably not where she does the best, but well, it worked out. So you know, ups and downs. But I think that's probably the important conversation here is, although a lot of this worked out, it wasn't as clean as it could have been, and as Spacestation continue to go on into the tournament, they got to look at this as not necessarily an up and down win and still identify some things that need to be changed.
Yeah, like the first game we see andinster playing the meta ISIS duo lane and does really well with it, and honestly that game looked super easy for SSG. I feel like they should go back to that, but in this game I felt like it was like in the mid game some point where I felt like Cyno just decided I've had enough. He started killing everyone. I think in one shot he dunked on Rapio like 2 or 3 times and just one shot him, took him out of the fight straight away. So I feel like Cyno kind of carried this. You know,
11 kills here at 27 minutes and more to come after the fact that he grabs number 12 there and finishes with upwards of that many kills. Fantastic look for Cyno, who last year's World's MVP kind of struggled throughout this regular season, as Zero said. This is his first set win of the whole year. Maybe this is the type of thing that reinvigorates him and brings him up. We've got him standing by next to andinster. Let's see what they have to say.
When I won Worlds.
Hey, well, welcome back to the interview desk, Cyno. That's right on time. It's been a little bit for you guys here. Does it feel good to finally get a win under the belt?
It feels good, but we still have a lot of work to do. Still got a lot of games to make Worlds, you know, so we're just going to keep looking forward.
Well, I know y'all's aspirations are far beyond this set here and making it towards Worlds, but was there any scare, I suppose, there in Game 2 when it looked like they were close? They never really had any substantial lead, but they were right there with you all. What were comms like, I guess, in that Game 2?
I mean, it shouldn't have gotten that bad. The rat kind of gave me a hard time. Yeah, I mean, comms stayed calm, though. Like, I'm pretty sure the entire time we thought we had it, so.
You guys definitely looked a lot better towards the end of Phase 2, and you moving over to long lane. I mean, how are you guys feeling confident coming into this? Because I know when you go on a losing streak like you guys have been on, it can be a little bit difficult to gain momentum and gain a little bit of confidence. But I thought that you guys looked a lot better towards the end of Phase 2. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, we are feeling a lot better. I don't know, like, I mean, yesterday obviously we lost, and today was like a little bit more bumpy than we wanted to be. But we're like, we think we're pretty good. Like when we're playing our game, I'm pretty sure we're all like confident that we're really like a pretty sick team, like despite being last place. But yeah, if we're playing our game, we'll play good. We just gotta clean it up.
Well, I believe you. It's out cold for you all as your next matchup here at this point. How are you all feeling about that set? I'm sure you're feeling confident, but are there any matchups or anything there where you all are feeling particularly strong? Have you gotten to watch a lot of their games back? How do you feel about that team?
We watched their games earlier today. Obviously, we're going to rewatch them, see how picks a band, see what they value. But obviously, Frosty X Susano. Probably won't give him that, but other than that, we're feeling pretty good. Just got to play our game.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, guys. Good luck tomorrow up against Out Cold. Stick with us. We got one more set coming on the broadcast here to close out the day.